Hi everyone, it's Natalie here. Welcome to my channel. So today I wanted to just do a sort of introductory walkthrough, kind of an in-depth walkthrough of the Shining Tribe Tarot, which is here on the left, and the Shining Woman Tarot, which is here on the right. So they're essentially the same deck, and you would have seen already a walk and talk through by Nina at Shuffle Tarot. So the two of us have both wanted so badly to work with these decks, or with this deck, for a very long time now, and have such a shared love of the Mother Peace Tarot, and so we decided to kind of work out a collaboration. And part of it was, she's going to do her thing the way that she does it, and I'll do my thing the way I do it. And then we're also going to find some places to overlap. So this is a deck, or these decks, were published by two different companies. They're both out of print. However, that said, you can still find the Shining Tribe Tarot pretty easily online. For not too much money. I managed to get this one on Amazon for about $25. The Shining Woman, however, is a little more expensive. The only real benefits I think that I'm seeing, because I have had the decks for just a little while to kind of open and look at them, and I can't remember why I didn't do an unboxing. But I really just wanted, I think at the time, I really just wanted the experience of looking at and opening the decks. Let me show you their packaging. So first of all, let's look at Shining Woman. So Shining Woman came boxed in this lovely, very old-fashioned tarot box from the early 90s, I think 1992 to be exact. And was published originally, as you can see here, by Aquarian. So Aquarian Publishing did the first version of this. And let's see, where's my book? Here was the original Guidebook. And it's not in bad shape. I mean, given that the outside of the box was a little dinged up, the Guidebook is actually in really good condition. And the cards were just perfect. So Aquarian Thorson's is an imprint of Harper. I think most people know that, but there we go, to be just to be sure. There we go. And yeah, Rachel Pollack, 1992. So and of course, even though this was just a very the first iteration of this deck, she's even still written a really solid guidebook about it. And it's kind of wonderful. When you look at the cards themselves, the card stock, I mean, these are immaculate. I don't think they were ever used when I got a hold of them. This was not an inexpensive deck, I have to be honest. Like the Shining Woman is a little more expensive than the Shining Tribe. There's a few differences in the cards, which we're going to see. But it's essentially the same deck. They're a little smaller and a little nicer to hold. And I got to be honest, the card stock is delightful. It is a glossy, but very bendy card stock. It feels great to shuffle. It's going to wear beautifully over time. And, I'm not a collector. I'm somebody who uses decks. So, for me, this is like having an extra copy of a deck that I intend to work with rather intensively. So I will be getting to, like I do with the deck that's my favorite, the Marion. Like brain fart. Like I do with the Marion, I do intend to work with all the copies in one form or another. So I'll get to know the differences in the cards. I will probably get to know those rather deeply. I'm sure I'll put together a video at some point, sorry about the movement here, where I go into detail about what those differences are. And what they create, in the cards, or why they're different. Yeah. So that's Shining Woman. I'm going to put it off to the side here for a moment. And then we can look over here at Shining Tribe. So as you can see, there's a big difference in terms of the deck size. You know, that's pretty significant, you know, in terms of hands and looking at images. Very different image on the back. Just a very, very different look and feel. And of course, I think this was shown on Nina's channel too. This is the second version of the deck, which was completely changed. So this is like 9 years later in 2001. Llewellyn picks up the deck and repackages it. She, you know, Rachel has had a long time to kind of look at it and think it over. Oh, there's my return ID in case I want to. Like, obviously I'm not going to. But yeah, you know, this is the sort of early 2000s, late 90s way that Llewellyn was packaging decks, which is, you know, not the worst, but gosh, when I look at a Llewellyn deck now, and the way it shows up, it's so different. These cards were pretty immaculate too. It was opened, so even though it was pretty much brand new, it was open. And you can see, like, it doesn't even really fit in there. And I don't know if it had been used or looked at. It was hard to tell. Oh, heavens, I'm going to be putting it out of order. But anyway, you can see, like, and then it's very funny to me, too, because then it's like, some tips for caring for your tarot cards. First, wrap it, you know, in a protective cloth. Store your deck in a box embellished with, or, you know, protective and or empowering symbols, etc. Yeah. Which is absolutely, I mean, this is totally, you know, in line with how I used to look at, oops, sorry about all the bumping, how I used to look at reading decks and working with them. Okay, I think I only just have like the first 4 out of order here. It fell apart, yeah. So as you can see already, you know, oops, we're looking at a completely different color palette for the deck. You know, it's much more, I don't know, the colors are a lot more vibrant, bright, etc. And there will be further differences that we'll be able to observe here. Be that as it may, however, we all know I love nothing more than a guidebook. And I would say why work with Rachel Pollack and her philosophy if you're not going to be curious about how she wants to write about it, because the woman is an incredible author. So here is the guidebook. Chunky. It's huge. And of course, I've already been, you know, diving into it a bit here and there. Ooh, hello. All right, so this is not damage that came from anything other than me. Those of you who would have seen this the other day, I was filming my weekly guidance and spilled water everywhere. And this book, unfortunately, was, yeah, it was hit. So it's actually not damaged anything other than just, you can tell that there's water damage. But it, you know, in terms of like a tarot guidebook, especially for one you love, it's just going to make it that much more wonderful to read and partake of. So yeah, I'm not hurt by it. This is also my writing, not someone else's. So any of the writing and stuff in here, any of the damage to this book, basically, this has all been inflicted by Natalie. And so it's funny because I'm saying like, oh yeah, I've barely even dived into it. And yet you're seeing a book that's got all of this stuff going on. This is just how I am. And it really, I have just barely dived into this. I shuffled and I started reading with the deck. And this is how I start. You know, I start either with that, you know, just walking it through myself, or by, you know, unboxing, doing a sort of a deep dive look. And then I dive in like this and continue to just chip away and chip away and chip away until I have a great sense of what the particular deck's voice is. So I will say, let's go to one where I've really, here we go. Where is it? Is that the 8 of, nope, it's the 2, oh yeah, the 8 of Trees, which has come up twice as of the 25th of February. So there's this fantastic, you know, picture here. I would say if Llewellyn wanted to republish a deck by such a powerful, esteemed author and teacher and, you know, kind of tarot genius as Rachel Pollack, you know, I would say having a book just pretty much like this, only, you know, in their way that Llewellyn is doing of late, where it's even better, you know, it's even better than this. I would welcome that. I'm just throwing it out there. And I am, because I, you know, I mean, we all get older, and when someone who is such a brilliant contributor to this community and to this art form, and this form of divination, such as Rachel Pollack, comes up with a deck. This is her own deck. It's her own artwork, her own writing, and she's put everything. This is like an amalgam in so many ways of everything she's ever written. And I'm in the process of repurchasing so many of my Rachel Pollack books because I don't know what happened to them. At some point in the last 20 some years, they're just, I don't have them anymore. And she was one of my original, you know, teachers in that sense, in the sense that I loved her books. Yeah, and I read them. So, and I missed entirely somehow. This was not a deck I knew about in the 90s when I was out there doing my thing. Nor did I encounter it in the time since. Anyway, for each of the cards, we have, you know, at least 2 pages. Oh, wow, look at that. I've even made notes on the back page. Sorry about that. We don't want to look at that one. But you see what I'm saying here, right? There, you know, we have at least 2 pages each for each of the cards in the minors. There are more than that for the majors. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Death. Perfect. Just what I love. You know, we have 1, 2, 3, like 4 pages. Is it 4 that we've got? Nah, not quite. A little over 3 pages plus a full page, you know, picture. And probably what's going to happen as I work with this guidebook, because you can see from that poor 8 of trees back there, this tends to be the case. I had some big insights about this card, so I ended up writing all over it, you know, and I will inevitably probably make notes on since they're already here and there's so much space around it, I'll probably make notes over the top of it. Okay. So, that said, I mean, this is, yeah, let's see, what else does she throw in here? She's got a really juicy introduction. She talks about the structure of the deck, the major arcana. Then we've got each of the suits in the minors with some good commentary about what they are and what they mean. She calls her, this is where we're going to get stuck, but we're not going to go there today. We're just going to look at majors in this one, but we get to the vision cards, which is the quartz. And then, as I recall, we have, yes, readings. She's got sample readings of how she interprets everything, as well as spreads, individual spreads, soul readings, ways to activate a tarot card, writing exercises, meditation exercises, you know, just some incredible ways. Then she has you know, this appendix. She's got the name changes, you know, where she's changed things. Looking at reversals, there's a whole section on that. And she's also included, you know, a glossary, which I love, so that you can really dive into, and she explains everything so that nobody will feel left out, you know. It's beautiful, and it's so well researched. God, she's so, yeah, okay. So let's just look, shall we? So we'll look at both of these side by side. So first we have the Fool. And you can see, because I've got the light on my laptop on, you can get a sense of the glare. It's quite bad on Shining Tribe. or sorry, Shining Woman, but fine on Shining Tribe for the most part. It's kind of a semi-matte. It's a decent cardstock, but it does chip. That's the only thing. When you shuffle it, it does a little chipping. You know, some gentle, subtle differences here. But, you know, we've got this beautiful image of the Fool just about to sail off, but able to sort of, it's almost spiritual. It's almost like a shamanic journey, you know, where she's following this bird and able to see the entire landscape. There's a trust. There's a sense, for me, there's a sense of trust there. Beautiful. And it looks a little bit, you know, this reminds me of a map somehow. I think all of the dots kind of to me look like they could be trails. Yeah. Okay. And it's just so interesting too, because in this first version of it, I feel like you can see a little bit more of the detail, you know, the hand-drawn detail and quality there. You know, it feels like colored pencils maybe, than what I can see here. You know, this has been messed with. It's been adjusted. The coloring and, you know, the skin tone is lighter, but the landscape's darker. You know, the mountains are, it's just different. I mean, the coloring's different, but it's really the same card. Just a lot more vibrant. Okay. Magician. So this is a very, I've not drawn the Magician yet. Very little difference between these two. Very, very little difference. You know, you can see that the coloring is, it's brighter. It's a little bit more vibrant in the background here. It's almost, that's about all. I don't really see a lot there that's different. Yeah, we've got water back here. We've got all of our elements in place. Some kind of an interesting and unusual bird there. I don't know, this reminds me of like the Anasazi. You know, it makes me want to read the book. Okay, I'm not going to do that yet. You almost need to in order to really know what it is you're looking at. But we're doing first impressions. You know, I'm trying to stay out of the guidebook so I can just talk about what I'm seeing. You know, this is clearly not a white guy. It looks like there's a use of a ritual, you know, ritual mask. This is deep magician territory. This is not magician territory that doesn't have that hermetic feel to it. It has much more of like an ancient, tribal magician. You know, this would be maybe the speaker of the tribe or the medicine man in the tribe, the person in the tribe that takes on, you know, does all of the journeying on behalf of the tribe to negotiate with spirit and the spirit world, perhaps. This might be like, it kind of feels like a sacred landscape behind him. Yeah. I will say, when I have read descriptions of the cards in the book, she is explicit about every single detail in the card and what it means. So all of it has meaning and significance. And it is a deck that I believe, it's a deck that is intended to be studied with the book. So here we have some differences in the High Priestess. They're not too significant, but they're enough that it kind of changes the way she feels. from one to the next. I can't tell you. I almost feel like I maybe prefer this one. I couldn't begin to tell you why. You know, they're so similar. It's the, you know, the color is softer in the background, and it's got that kind of mottled quality, as mottled, M-O-T-T-L-E-D, that you would get with like watercolor or, you know, just something that's not perfect. Whereas here it's all been shaded in and made to look perfect. You know, I don't disagree with that necessarily, but there is something truly wonderful about seeing, especially in a deck like this, you know, really seeing the hand of the artist. I also really love that, you know, that Rachel Pollack is a, you know, she's very much known for her mind and for her wisdom and knowledge and reading ability. But I wouldn't say that she was known as an artist, and there's something about that that makes this really that much more special. You know, that we can see her hand marking the paper, you know, that this is an incredibly intelligent, talented woman who takes a risk and takes a leap and creates and draws her own deck, you know, paints her own deck. She doesn't have to be perfect. She doesn't have to go and learn how to do art all over again. She just does it. And I love that. There's a purity and a vibrancy to that you don't see everywhere. Yeah, I mean, this, you know, we have the two pillars here in the two cards. Interesting how the snake, this is clearly like some kind of a rattlesnake, you know, the fish. I'm not sure how those interrelate. Again, it feels like the use of a ritual mask. So we're seeing another type of magician here. Yeah. Engaging spirit, protecting the veil between, and holding space between two worlds. So the Empress, we have such a beautiful, we've got like a goddess here, you know, some kind of a rock art goddess or a Venus. Beautiful. Very different shading in the water. But otherwise about the same. Yeah, I feel like this is, you know, we just have like the perfection of femininity and feminine spirituality, you know, I don't know. I think we're seeing the morning star there in the sky, which is Venus. Yeah, I mean, this is a venerated type of image. You know, this would be, you know, a way of honoring embodied feminine and the spiritual feminine. It's beautiful. And its relationship to the land and landscape. Oh, wow. So the Emperor kind of reminds me of Cernunnos or, I don't know. Yeah, Cernunnos is the first one that comes to mind. But we've also got the Minotaur kind of feel here, maybe. So we've got that bull. I don't know, the antlers like that and horns like that always make me think of, they always make me think of, you know, male dominance. You know, when you see like deer fighting each other and clacking their horns together. Yeah, I don't know. Very different coloring in these cards. I don't know that I prefer one over the other, in honesty. They're both really stunning. Okay. Tradition. Tradition. I don't want to get any trouble here. So that's all I can think of is, yeah, fiddler. Maybe not an inappropriate thing to think of, actually, because she makes a lot of references to Jewish folklore and certainly Hermetic Kabbalah. But yeah, a lot of Jewish folklore and tradition is in here. But yeah, with tradition, so obviously the Hierophant. Have to say this one is the better or more easily readable of the two because of the coloration. You know, this one almost feels a little bit like it fades into the background and we lose those like lumps or mountains in there. So I had to lean around and just have a look to see how this is all coming across. And then, yeah, here we've got, it's just a little easier to make them out. I have no idea what the tradition is. I do appreciate that we keep seeing the fish. I'm really curious about what the fish means in terms of continuity. I love the petroglyphs at the bottom here. More mountains in the landscape and the sun. Yeah. Maybe we're looking at tradition that is so deep and so embedded in the land and in our physical bodies and ancestrally, like you would find in caves and so forth. Maybe I think maybe that could be what she's referring to here. I haven't actually read this card or read about it, but I feel like that could be it. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so there we go. That's my impression. That's my impression. Trying to just go with impressions and not, you know, not have to read. Okay, Lovers is pretty self-explanatory here. Not much difference, although, yeah, I kind of like this. I think I like Shining Woman better than Tribe on this one. Yeah, I mean, that unity and the lightning and the sparks. Yeah. Okay, Chariot. Yeah, okay. Ooh, a lot of difference in coloration here. Gosh, faces are the hardest things to draw, aren't they? Wow, just taking in what I'm looking at here. It is a lot, I think, a lot clearer and easier to see on Shining Tribe. So, you know, we obviously have our charioteer. We've got a medicine wheel with all of the 4 directions on it. And interestingly, our charioteer, I just realized those are arms. I think those are arms and not wings. Feels like the arms are reaching up and calling in the 4 directions. And I think we're going on an inner journey. I think we're journeying. I think we're doing a shamanic journey here. We're reining things in, calling in the spirits in order to take a journey. This is a big adaptation for me, folks. I don't know about you. I'm feeling it. This is huge. But you know, this is also why I wanted to study this deck. Because, you know, I'm beginning to, I need to make the video about it, but I am beginning to soften around my resistance to the term shaman in order to understand what it is, you know, what those common threads are that hold all human, you know, ancient traditions together, that yeah, you know, that do this, right? That go and sit to meditate and think they're failing at meditate, you know, just speaking from experience, but think they're failing at meditation for years because I can't stop myself from getting up and leaving, right? While I'm practicing loving kindness. So instead of staying present and in my body and feeling the loving kindness and feeling the energy in my legs and feet and all over, or my heart space and so on, I will get up and, not literally, but I will go in and go out in order to find those who are in need of the loving kindness and practice it that way. Not realizing that that was journeying. Because in Zen Buddhism, we don't have a language for that. We don't talk about it. So it's really taken, getting to know the Tibetan tradition and actually just getting to know people in this community and around that has started to open my mind to this and help me understand what it is I'm doing and how I'm functioning with it. And this is another step along the way, because this is clearly the perspective that Pollack is bringing to this. And somehow, amazingly, in the book and in the guidebook, she's marrying it together with, all of the Hermeticism as well. So it's shockingly amazing. But yeah. Okay, so this is clearly what we're looking at, I think, here in the Chariot. Wow, it's a big jump. There's a big jump. Whew, big leap for Nat. Okay, Strength. Now, I have drawn this one before, and I cannot remember what it was about, so that's probably good. I think I thought this was a lion or a horse at first, but it's a lion. Yeah, I really don't remember anything about this card or its symbolism. I remember it was deep. What I'm seeing is, and here we go. This is what Tracy always says about just throw away the damn guidebook, right? And I will not do that, thank you, because it's Rachel Pollack. But for the moment, I'm throwing away the damn guidebook, right? So what do I see here? I'm seeing this kind of very primitive looking lion with one foot out, but looking back. So I kind of feel like there's the ability to see what's ahead, what's behind, while being totally stable and grounded, rooted into the earth. And it's like the earth has its own infinite energy that is being fed to the tree, fed to the lion. And the universe is offering us all popcorn. I have no idea. I don't know what I'm seeing. Okay, so there is Strength. I think we've covered everything. Yeah. All right, moving on. So we're just doing the majors today, which is good because this is already very long. So the Hermit. Wow, that background makes such a difference. It's really just the background that's different here. But that mottled feel makes it feel like we're inside a room. The quality of the texture in the background. And maybe that's the portal. Whereas here, I don't know what that's doing as easily. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess we're looking at this hermit figure, I don't know, seeking light, but then we've got this lantern that's back here behind this doorway. Oh, although here, because of perspective, something's different. I don't know what it is. But it feels like perhaps we're inside a circular space, and maybe this is next to that doorway. And that by going through that doorway to a different, or through that portal, the inner light can be found there, or that's, like saying this is a pathway to get there. Whereas here, it almost looks like this is behind this. I don't know. Yeah, that's one I'm going to have to read up on. She's taking such a different perspective here. Okay, then we have the Spiral of Fortune with this wonderful bird creature. And we have sort of the spiral, kind of labyrinthy looking thing. And I think what I get from this is this idea of going in circles. You know how you can feel like you're going in circles with things, and like maybe you're never moving forward, or things are never getting better or changing until they do. And you realize at some point that, you know, if you were to take it from being two-dimensional and kind of look at it three-dimensionally, you were climbing upwards that whole time. You know, I don't know if you can see my finger, but you're climbing upwards that whole time through that spiraling. So you're not really going in circles. You're revisiting things, revisiting lessons, but you're ultimately doing it in service of going higher, which is maybe where that bird comes in. I don't know. Intuitive sense of what this might mean. Yeah. Okay, Justice. Oh, Lord, I have no idea. Well, the eye in between these two pillars is telling me something to do with holding, you know, a vision that's centered in the middle of two different opposites, right? Of two sides. Maybe we've got justice that comes from ancestral knowing and wisdom, because we've got these strange, like, faces coming out of this mountainside. Yeah, I don't know who I like. I have to say I prefer this card, and I prefer tribal or woman, shining woman here. Yeah, there's something ancestral about this justice. Okay, Hanged Woman. And yeah, I kind of prefer, I almost prefer Shining Woman to Shining Tribe. The redness in the bodies is just too much to look at. For me, anyway. Wonderful, though. I feel like there's a journey that we're on here. We've got the boat. It's a completely different perspective of everything, obviously, but I think the strings being attached here, so fascinating. Like being able to adjust your vision to be able to see the very threads that are pulled, that weave the fabric of life and fabric of the universe. And that the deity itself maybe is female. Being able to go upside down, see things from a new perspective, and hear different messages. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, Death. Wow, that's some kind of death. Oh, look at this. There's a little head leaving this. Oh, I see. Okay. I wonder if this is an open coffin and the energy coming out, and maybe this is the figure that, I mean, I think we're looking, yeah, we've got like a butterfly. You can't see it as well, see? Can't see it as well there. We've got like a butterfly on the chest, on the heart space, so we're transforming. We're leaving the body. So maybe wow, okay, I wonder if this is like leaving the physical body, being called by spirit to leave the physical body and begin like having a shamanic death. I really don't know. Yeah, I really don't know. Kind of cool though. Very, very cool. All right. Temperance is about what we would expect. And they're not very different from one another. Slightly richer purple happening in tribe than woman. You know, but yeah, she's definitely finding an alchemical balance for herself. Yeah. Oh, look at this devil. Yeah, that's definitely some kind of a dark entity there. Yeah, maybe it's like, it could be, I'm just like, okay, Nat, what do you see? What does it mean? What does it mean? Could it mean I have no idea. Could it mean that what we're seeing here is, I mean, it could be self parts that we've locked away and treated as, you know, evil parts of ourselves, but, you know, by locking them in a closet. Not a bad way to see it, actually. I tend to see the devil that way to some extent anyway. You know, we think in terms of depth psychology, you know, there's the self that is really what's in charge. And then we have all of these ego parts or self parts. And sometimes we don't like who they are very much, so we lock them up and throw away the key, thinking we can keep them at bay that way. Because we're too afraid that that might be who we really are, but it's not. I don't know, maybe? All right, Tower. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's a total initiation process there. She's being stricken by lightning from all directions. I actually do prefer tribe on this one. Yeah, she's having an initiation that shakes the ground, the foundation of the ground she walks on. It changes her entire brain and perspective of the world. It draws her down. Ooh, come back. There we go. Draws her down closer to the earth and into the earth. It bonds her with the earth. There's a bunch of little petroglyphs down here that are really interesting, but I can't quite see very well. Yeah, that's a great card. Wow. And as much as I don't like the coloring as much on this card, it's easier to make out the petroglyphs. You know, the little symbols down there. Huh, okay. Okay, so here's the star. Beautiful. So she's abundant, she's verdant. Wow, if we think of her as the individual that's in this card, this would be like her after that awakening, after that initiation. With all of this, I'm reminded of Kuan Yin a little bit with all of the water pouring from the jug. You know, the compassion that pours out. That's usually what it means in Kuan Yin or for Kuan Yin. She's got a completely different relationship with the earth. And part of her is always, has that celestial awareness ever after. Maybe. They're both really pretty cards. Not a huge difference, a little bit in coloration, but yeah. Okay, the moon. Wow, okay. Huh, so something to do with direction here, with this like bow and arrow kind of thing, or a sextant. Maybe that's supposed to be a sextant where you can see the horizon or get your bearings somehow. We still have a creature that's crawling up out of the depths here at the bottom. I don't know what this green peak is here in the middle. Yeah, I just can't, I'm struggling with this one. Maybe like allowing these things, these dark, creepy crawlies to come out of your unconscious. I'm just making this up. Is what, using this, if I think of this as a sextant, this bow and arrow looking shape thing, maybe that's what gives us guidance or direction, or changes our bearings or our awareness. Oh, I have no idea. I mean, that's a tough one. Okay, this is the sun uterus. Just kidding. It does look like a uterus though, and fallopian tubes at the top, doesn't it? It's so radiant and beautiful. I don't know. I mean, if forgetting that uterus has got to be pretty significant. I just don't know what it means, but we still have the two figures here holding hands. There's a sense of unity, oneness, a recognition of oneness, the ability to embody oneness with the world and the universe, but maybe being reborn into oneness. Maybe it's being reborn into oneness. Maybe that's the direction of the sextant. Let's just think about that for a second. Oops. Yeah, no, that's about right. Okay. Yeah, I guess, yeah. Maybe this bug, which kind of has a yoni on its back. Maybe it's through that pain and unrecognized stuff in our unconscious that gives birth to us in a place that is oneness. Like getting through those things, recognizing them, letting them come up, allows us to go a different direction, and that direction brings us closer to unity and oneness consciousness, the consciousness of universal oneness, which is an inherently feminine energy. I don't know. I'm making this up as I go along, folks. I do not know the answers, but it's helpful to me to just make it up like this as I go, and then share that with you. Okay, wow, awakening. So that is clearly some kind of a phoenix rising from the ashes, in Lake Michigan. And the people of downtown Chicago are jumping up and down cheering because it's so cool. I've been reading so many cryptid things. Do you know about the flying humanoids? Anybody know about that? Or like the Chicago Mothman? Right now, that's what I'm seeing. I know that is not what she intended. But my geek out in that territory is overcoming my ability to see much else here. Okay, so what else is here? So yeah, I'm going to say that this is a sort of beautiful feminine self that is like a phoenix rising from the ashes and calling forth all of us to rise up similarly. It's also like it's transcending like a human built landscape. in favor of, I don't know, maybe recognizing our inherent connection to the earth, but being able to embrace consensus reality as it is. Maybe that's where we're going. And it's maybe that resurrection of the self, a reawakening of the self, you know, as a whole enlightened being, allows for calling forth that same quality in others. Wake up, all of you people in Chicago. It's all going to be okay. Yeah, I don't know. That is a really awesome card. And then, of course, we have the Shining Woman card. And in the Shining Tribe card, she calls it the World Shining Woman. And in the Shining Woman deck, of course, it's the Shining Woman. So we have all of the layers of her auric field. I love this card so much. It's so beautiful. Every aspect of who and what she is fully awakened, fully enlightened, radiating out and into the world, and is fully embodied through the journey. Oh, God, that's gorgeous. This is how I feel after I meditate. I used to call it becoming shiny. You know, I sit and meditate in order to become shiny again. Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, so we'll deal with the rest of these another time, folks. But there we have the journey of the majors. From Fool to Shining Woman. And you can see there is a significant journey being portrayed here. It's really stunning. So the majors, there are no major changes to the majors in this deck, clearly. Okay, so I will return again later, another time. Not sure how far apart these are going to be, but for a deeper dive into the minors. All right, everybody, a deep dive, first impressions of the minors is coming soon. See you all very, very soon. Bye.